Right now, let's get a check on our forecast with Christopher Nunley.
It is a wet start to the day for some areas. Notice the Olympic Peninsula largely dry this morning, so we've noticed that focus generally east of Puget Sound into the foothills and the Cascades. That's where we're seeing that zone of some of that light to, at times, moderate rainfall, especially along and just to the east of the I-5 corridor from Tacoma up to Mount Vernon. Notice this is where we have some of that light to, at times, moderate rain, especially for the foothills. This is where we're seeing some of that heavier activity right now. Just to the east of Seattle, Shoreline, and Everett, we're seeing those pockets of some heavier rain this morning. So if you are getting out on the roadways, especially in King and Snohomish counties, this is where we're seeing some of that heavier activity at times. So just give yourself a little extra time on the roadways. But the good news is, notice the back end starting to work its way a little bit closer to I-5. So we are going to see a gradual downward tick in the rain chances for at least a few hours. Larger look at the Pacific Northwest. If you are heading to eastern Washington today, even some rain showers for the Columbia River Basin as well as the Palouse, seeing some of that moderate, at times heavy rainfall, which is good news. These areas are dealing with those drought conditions, so a good soaking to the east of the Cascades. And if you are traveling over the mountains, no issues with those snow levels above 5,500 feet. Snoqualmie Pass, just some wet roadways on I-90, so give yourself extra time on the roadways, but you don't need the chains. Same case as we work our way up to Stevens. Notice that we just have those wet conditions out there, a little bit foggy at times as well, but Highway 2, just dealing with the wet roadways. Seattle, wet out there with a little bit of low-level cloud cover. You can kind of see that fog, the building there peeking through the fog. 48 degrees, a touch on the cool side this morning. That's pretty much area-wide. We have temperatures in the upper 40s and lower 50s, 47 in Bremerton, 51 in Oak Harbor, 50 in Mount Vernon. And temperatures this afternoon, they're really not going anywhere. Going to be really similar to what we saw yesterday, maybe add on a couple of degrees. Temperatures are generally going to stay in the 50s this afternoon. Our average highs in the upper 60s, folks, so a well below average day. Notice we see that downward tick in the rain chances late morning into the early afternoon hours, but by mid-afternoon, we're going to see a convergent zone that starts to set up. This will allow for some rain for the Kitsap Peninsula as well as parts of central Puget Sound from Seattle to Everett. That's where we're kind of focused on. So parts of Snohomish and northern King County have that best chance to see some rain later on this afternoon from that convergent zone. It starts to weaken later on this evening into the overnight hours, but I want you to focus on this little area right here along the Cascades and to the east. This is a little piece of energy that's going to rotate in around a low pressure system, increasing those rain chances tomorrow morning for the northwest interior and parts of Puget Sound, but we do start to see a downward tick in those rain chances by tomorrow afternoon, allowing temperatures to climb up to 62, and we're going to see the warmest day of the week by Wednesday with a high of 76 degrees.